some to do quickly. So I cannot do mindfully like what Bhante did instruction. So I want to ask Bhante how to mindful and how to noting the intention when to do these action. Thì có một
What intention? Intention, which one?
Intention and mindfully the action also.
Okay. Okay. There are many activities we do in our daily life. Some of them we can do slowly, some of them it is hard to do slowly because sometimes sometimes we have limit time. We have not enough time to do slowly. So in those activities which we cannot do too slowly, as I mentioned yesterday. So those activities we can do in normal speed. Normal speed means not too fast also, not too fast and not too slow as well. So in normal speed, we have to do those activities. By doing in normal speed, so we have to try to pay attention at least what we are doing. And in those conditions also, sometimes we may have many bodily activities. Among those, the most obvious bodily activities must be paid attention. Like when we take a shower, when we are rubbing the soap, sometimes we might be using both hands. At the same time, we might be moving the body also. So in those activities, we have to choose the most obvious action. If movements of the hands are most obvious, then pay attention on the movements of the hand. And sometimes we might be using two hands, so it would be hard to pay attention on both hands. So you can choose one of them. You can pay attention on the right hand also, or you may pay attention on the left hand also. So when there are many actions are taking place at the same time, and we have no option to do one action, so at that time we have to choose the obvious one. So in this way, when we take shower, if we are pouring the water, then we may not pouring the water. If we are using the right hand, then pay attention on the right hand. So at that time, it is not necessary to not like lifting the hand, then pouring. We don't need to go in detail. So just note as like a pouring, like a pouring. If you are rubbing the soap, so just note as rubbing. So generally, not too much in detail. So you can note in that way. And sometimes you may be feeling like a cold also, or maybe sometimes big warmness also. If you are realizing, that also can be noticed. So there are other activities as well that we cannot do in very slow motion, in slow speed. So in all those activities we can do in normal speed, not too fast, not too slow. This is the first thing. And second is we have to choose the most obvious bodily function or the obvious part, which is most obvious. And the third one is if it is not possible to note in detail, so you cannot generally. But sometimes still we may have confusion that whether I am mindful or not. So to declare that, what we should be aware of this, we should be knowing something. Each moment, we should be knowing something. If we are knowing something, that means mindfulness is present in those activities. Okay, I hope we should not got the answer.
Have a yogis and also some yogis ask the question about when sitting meditation, they feel vibration and shaking, body swaying, and sometimes cannot control. So they want to ask Bhante how it is and what
Is
they
it
can.
is it while sitting meditation time or after sitting meditation?
On the sitting time.
Okay, so shaking the body, sometimes many vibrations appear, sometimes whole body, sometimes some parts of the body, even sometimes feel dizzy. So these are the normal things and the common things that happen during the practice. So first is we do not worry about these experiences. Shaking the body, if it is controllable, first we have to try to. When we realize, first we have to note them. If body is shaking, then shaking. If body is wavering, then wavering. If body is swinging, then swinging. If vibrating, then vibrating. First note them very energetically with precise. When our energy becomes strong, mindfulness becomes strong, and by this strong mindfulness energy, when we observe, they subside by themselves. So the first thing we have to do is note them very precisely, very energetically, with full energy. By noting precisely still the shaking or the wavering, this continues or it increases. Second, what we should try to do is make sure that your body is upright enough. Your body is upright enough and make sure that your body is energetic enough. Upright and be more energetic. Bodily also, mentally also, be more energetic. And still not okay, then if they are controllable, then try to control. Try not to shake the body. Try not to have the wavering. So if they are controllable, then try to control. So you can note when you are trying to control, we have to note wanting to control, wanting to control. While controlling also must note as controlling, controlling. So whatever we do, we have to do with nothing. And the next thing we have to take care is we should not sit long time. Those yogis, those meditators who have this kind of situation, they should not sit long time. So 1 hour, maximum 1 hour and 15 minutes. And that is the maximum sitting. And walking must be done very carefully. We have to improve in walking meditation. If we improve in walking meditation, then in sitting also we improve. Means we can be free from this kind of situation, because sometimes due to the imbalance between the concentration and the energy, this kind of situation may create. So in order to keep balance between the sitting concentration and the energy, we have to do good walking. Okay, hope question I got the answer. Let's go to next question.
Dear Bhante, have the two yogis asked about the breathing object is more obvious for them because they familiar with the breath in and breath out to observe them. And sometimes is the rising and falling is not clear, not obvious, but the breathing is very clear. And they want to ask Bhante is, can they continue to observe the breath in and breath out? And the second question is, what is the difference between the two objects, rising and falling, and the breathing?
Okay, so if we want to observe the rising and falling, if we have a great desire to observe the rising and falling, we are observing the rising and falling also because of having the habit of observing in breath and out breath. Of course, often our mind will go to observe the in breath and out breath. And that is of course not the problem. When we realize that the in breath and out breath is become obvious, we can note in and out, in and out. And if you want to return back to the abdomen again, so of course we can return back to the abdomen as well. When the abdomen or the rising and falling become obvious. It is about the scale, it is about the habit also, it is about the how much we are familiar with the object also. Because those yogis are familiar with the in-breath and out-breath. They are skillful with the in-breath and out-breath. They are proficient, and that's why mind often goes to the nose. But the same skill we can also develop with the abdomen also. If we keep noting again and again, if we keep try to come back again and again to the abdomen, so very soon we will be skillful to observe the abdomen as well. We will be proficient, we will be familiar with the abdomen as well. It is like visiting to the new place. When we visit to new place, because that new place is not familiar. So mind often go back to our home. It often wanders to our home. It often wanders to our friends. It often wanders to our relatives. Many memories comes repeatedly again and again until the new place become familiar for us. So here also same thing for those yogis. This rising and falling is being like a new place, not familiar. So the mind is, that's why the mind is going. The mind is being dragged out by the familiar object. So that is the only thing happening. That is not a problem. So they also ask about what is the difference between the rising and falling and the in-breath and out-breath. So only the objects are different. Rising and falling is also the meditative object of the Vipassana. And the in-breath and out-breath is also the meditative object of the Vipassana. But one thing we have to take care is when we observe in-breath and out-breath, because the in-breath and out-breath is used sometimes for practicing the samatha also, concentration meditation. So we should not mix up with that concentration meditation. When we observe in-breath and out-breath during the samatha practice, we observe the concept. We don't go to realize, we don't pay attention on the reality like a warmness or the coolness. When breathing in, sometimes coolness, sometimes like when breathe out, like a warmness, and when touching on the nose or the tip of the nose, like different kind of feelings are there. In samatha meditation, we don't take care about that. We do not pay attention. But in Vipassana meditation, if you are using in-breath and breath as the object of the Vipassana meditation, then we of course do pay attention in those realities. So we have to be aware of that. When we are observing the in-breath and out-breath, whether we are observing as just a concept or as a big Vipassana meditative object. In Vipassana, it is also said that the most obvious object must be observed at the beginning, and the easy one also. Obvious one and the easy one. Like when we go to the school, at the very beginning of the school, we study from the easy one, like A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't go to the hard one because we cannot. Same in the Vipassana also, we choose the easy one. Easy and the obvious one. So here also, we are choosing the obvious and the easy one, like rising and falling. Later when mindfulness and concentration will become obvious, even this rising and falling will not be the primary object. Only the tension, tightness, hardness, stiffness, heaviness, lightness, these kind of nature will be the main object because they will be obvious enough. At that time, we will not even observe the rising, falling. Okay, I hope questioner got the answer.
Many yogis ask about the sickness. When the sitting have some sickness come to them, like brushing blood, leg, brush blood on the leg, and painful disc herniation. is the sickness he already had before the meditate, and he fear meditate make it more serious. The backbone he have many painful, and have some yogis have the wound of whole body. Someone have dizziness and vomiting. So they want to ask is, do the meditate make the sickness be worse? And another question is, do the meditation will release the disease?
There is history yet from the time of the Buddha until today. There is no history that meditation create the problem in the body, or meditation has create any sicknesses or the diseases in the body. So there is no history yet, that kind of history yet. But of course, there is the history that meditation has healed or cured many different kind of diseases and sicknesses. Even there are many cases that this meditation has cured even the cancer. There are many diseases and the sicknesses that cannot be cured by even the meditation, had been cured by this meditation. So that's why we don't need to worry about whether this meditation will create any bodily problem or sicknesses. So put aside about these kind of worries. My power is off, so I disconnected. Okay, I'm back again. So we are talking about, it is not really appearing, it is just getting obvious due to the mindfulness, due to the concentration. For example, in the sky, there are many stars, even we cannot see. But when we use binocular, the magnifying instruments are the tools we can see. So in the same way, when mindfulness and concentration become obvious, we come to see what are the natures or the things are existing in the body. So that is what happening during the practice. Similarly, the cells of the body or cells of the material things we cannot see by our ordinary eyes. But when we use microscope, we can see them. So in the same way, our mindfulness or concentration will function as a microscope or the magnifying tool, so that they come to realize or to see the things that we cannot feel or realize in our ordinary life or in our daily life. But in meditation, we can see them, we can realize them, we can feel them. So that's why when these sickness or the illness become obvious, at that time first, we have to change our mentality that we should not take them as a sickness or the illness. We have to just behave them as the sensations that appear during the practice, like a pain. Sometimes we have a different kind of pain are there in our legs. Similarly, we have to behave we have to behave them in the same way. Just the ordinary pain that appear during the practice. And when these pain become obvious, because if we haven't had the such kind of mentality, we will be afraid of observing them. We will be scared. We will worry about whether something is going to happen or whether some kind of bodily problem or the sickness is going to stumble in my body. So that kind of worry or the scary mind will be there. And when these kind of mentalities, the scary mind or the worry mind take place, we cannot meditate. We cannot observe them precisely. So that's why observe them as just the other bodily sensations, and by observing them once, if they disappear, then we will have the full confidence to face them again. Sometimes by observing these sensations, they will disappear for all life. They will not reappear again. Means 100% this sickness or the illness can be disappeared. But try not to observe them to disappear. If we try in that way, they will never disappear. So we should not have any intention to disappear them, but we should have the intention to know in detail about those sicknesses or the illnesses. There are also the question about the vomiting and the dizziness. Regarding the dizziness, this is very normal and common during the practice. It happens because of the mindfulness and the concentration also. When the concentration develops, sometimes dizziness may appear. Just continue without any worry. Just continue. It will be disappear automatically.
Sorry, Bhante. Sorry.
Dizziness is very common and the minor thing during the practice. It appears or happens due to the mindfulness and the concentration, especially due to concentration. So that's why just continue without worry. So very soon this dizziness will subside or disappear by itself. And regarding the vomiting, this happens mostly to those yogis, those who have the loss of the air element in their body, or when the air element become obsessive, extreme in our body. So when the air element become obsessive and extremely high in our body, so sometimes the air try to come up, and they try to come up from the stomach, and they try to come out of the mouth. So they give pressure up. So that may clear, not always, but sometimes, very rare cases. In very rare cases, like a vomiting happens. So we don't need to worry about that as well. When those yogis who feel like they're wanting to vomit or feeling uncomfortable in their body, so they must be noted. if we don't note also sometimes, like these kind of conditions appear, so must be noted very carefully. Like wanting to vomit, then wanting to vomit should be noted. If we become able to note very precise, then no more vomiting. They will disappear by themselves. So must note very precisely wanting to vomit, or feeling like something is coming up, feeling something uncomfortable in the stomach or on the chest or on the throat, whatever it is, we have to pay attention there and should note very precisely. If our noting is very precise enough, then we can easily overcome this kind of situation. Okay, hope questioners got the answer.
Bhante, Yogi asked the question about the shaking and vibration. Is she also noting the moving and vibration rotates, but it changing continuously? It's not the same. Don't have any the same moving, and it changing, and she feel very confused when not the object is changing a lot and continuously. Is the first, and the second question is the moving and rotate shaking also happen when she walking meditation, and she don't know how to note when it happen when walking.
Okay, whether it is appearing in the sitting or whether it is appearing in the walking meditation, the important thing we have to do is when we do sitting or the walking, like maybe we first observe the rising and falling first. When we are observing rising and falling, or when we are observing the movements of the step, each and every rising and falling, each and every steps must be observed very carefully, one after another, without missing even a single object. We have to do this because we are trying to catch the very beginning of that shaking or wavering or the rotating the body. It would be very easy to control, or it would be very easy to overcome this kind of situation if we become able to catch the very starting of that shaking, very starting of that wavering, very starting of that rotating of the body. So in order to be able to catch the very beginning point, so it would be very important to observe continuously in sitting, rising, falling, and in walking the movements of this thing. By being able to do so, sometimes we may also realize the reason of appearing this kind of situation, the shaking of the body, the wavering of the body, and the rotating of the body. We may come to know why these situations are created. And once we come to know the reason, then it would be very easy to remove that cause, and the problem will be solved very easily. So that is also why it is very important to catch at the very beginning of that situation. And also when you become able to realize from the very beginning of that situation, And when you realize also, as soon as you realize, you have to note very effectively, very energetically, and not to disappear, but to know in detail about that situation, about that condition. And another thing we have to be careful is when shaking or wavering or rotating the body, these kind of motions take place. Sometimes mind also try to flow with that movements. So make sure that our mind is not flowing along with these situations, these bodily movements. And some other the things I have already mentioned, like and the question we have already discussed. So do walking meditation very carefully and keep your body upright during the sitting and the walking meditation also. Make sure your body is upright. And also I mentioned that if they are controllable, then try to control in some situation also. In sitting, if it is increasing a lot, if it is getting more severe, and walking also, if it is getting so strong, then if controllable, try to control. Okay, hope the questioner got the answer. If nobody is asking the question, we can continue the question that has saying that has message.
Yes, Bhante, I will. Dear Bhante, have yogis asked about it's easy for her when noting without the silent labeling. It's very easy for her to do. And she want to ask, can she do that when eight? And what the meaningful of silent labeling?
I think she means that not naming or the labeling, just observing.
Yes, Bhante.
Yeah, so here at the beginning of the practice, we have to label. We have to label, we have to name, we have to note them mentally. And we are trying to learn some language. We have to pronounce. Like if we are learning English, we have to pronounce A, B, C, like that. After learning A, B, C, D, also we have to pronounce like APPLA, apple, BALL, ball, and so on. Not yet enough. When we start to learn at the beginning, the sentences, like we have to pronounce, only when we become skillful and we will not pronounce anymore. Just imagine that if we don't pronounce the alphabets from the very beginning, so whether we will be able to speak that language or not, we will not. So same here, it is important to pronounce mentally the presently arising object to know about it, to know what is happening into those presently arising objects. Later, when we will be in a high level of the meditation. At that time, the time will come. We will not need to pronounce or we will not need to label. We will just need to observe very silently. That the situation will come by itself. It is true that at the beginning of the practice, sometimes we may feel that labeling, naming is disturbing to observe the object. We may feel like that. But actually it is not disturbing because by labeling, we can understand, we can realize whether our observing mind and object are touching each other or not, or they are accurate or not, whether our noting observation is accurate or not. We can understand that by labeling. And also while we label, energy is there, extra energy is there. So in order to boost the energy also, it is important to label. And labeling is also helpful to know the situation or the condition of the mind, whether it is really falling upon the object or whether it is just pretending to falling upon the object or whether it is flying somewhere. In order to know the situation of the mind, the condition of the mind also, the labeling is important during the practice. So that's why not only for that yogi, but for all the yogis, meditators, I would like to request, please label, please pronounce mentally the presently arising object. Try not to observe silently. Okay, I hope the questioner got the answer.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay.
So we give the last. Can you give the last question?
Sorry, I have another interview here in the center. So
yes.
This is about another interview here. I have yogi here, so we will continue tomorrow.
Yes, Bhante.
Okay, may you all be able to keep trying hard and may you progress a lot. May you progress very quickly and may you be able to purify your mind.